Most people see birds. I see a collective school of fish in the sky, a shifting kinetic helix of data. Today, we're going to audit why that matters for your sovereignty. Now that we have identified the frequency of your lumina and the architecture of your chassis, we can finally begin the synthesis. This is where we stop looking at individual parts and start looking at the integrated signal. We are moving from the old world perspective of as without, so within, where we use a costume to try to change our inner state, to the sovereign perspective of as within, so without, where your clothes become the physical expression of your internal broadcast. Before we blend these frequencies, let's do a quick review. For your coloration, ask yourself, does this color belong in my landscape? Spring is clear, luminous, and warm. Think of a yellow leaning green, like a new sprout. Even your cool colors like turquoise have a drop of sunlight in them. Autumn is resonant, earthy, and saturated. Think of a moss green or a rusted orange. Your colors are grounded in the richness of the soil. Summer is ethereal, diffused, and cool. Think of sea foam or charcoal. Your colors are softened by shadow and moonlight. Winter is incandescent, pure, and cold. Think of royal blue or stark white. Your colors are high contrast and absolute. For your structure, ask yourself, does this material honor my math? For the pillar, you are looking for laminar flow. The fabric should skim your shape and still hold the vertical line of your frame like a waterfall. Use materials with vertical memory. For the helix, you are looking for aerodynamic response. The fabric should move with your axis, becoming part of your momentum like a ripple. Use materials with kinetic memory. As we dig in, you might notice that I am not showing you mood boards of outfits or checklist of specific garments. I am simply pointing the telescope toward the horizon of your own biology. I want you to have full say in how you get there. I want you to be able to wear anything you can imagine. These are just the notes you were born with. You can play whatever song is in your soul using them. Humans have spent centuries using clothes as a mask, a silent passcode to enter a group. But a mask will never feel like your soul is living its truth on earth. For 10,000 years, we've used clothing to police the body. A clear-eyed look at history reveals that when humans moved from being in flow with the land toward taming the world, we chose to put limits on everything. If we needed fences for crops, we needed fences on our souls as well, just to make the shape hold. The results turned covering up into a moral rule to protect land and heirs. But when we strip away the purity rules, we find something else: resonance. Some of you feel powerful and safe when fully draped. Some of you feel alive and clear with more skin-to-air contact. Neither is a rule. Both are just how your specific hardware processes the world. I am not here to give you a new box. I am here to show you the frequency of the landscape your soul inhabits. This is not about getting dressed, it's about calibration. There might be residual resistance to looking at clothes this way. There's been a very clever move in marketing over the last 70 years where we were told that we find our soul's freedom through the physical expression of what we buy. That's not freedom. Those are repackaged boxes that cost you money every time you try to fit into the next "this is what's in." No matter what you put on your body, you cannot find freedom in what you purchase. You find it in who you are. When you ground these philosophies down into what you wear, you see the difference between buying an identity and recognizing a frequency. One costs money every time you try on a new identity to fit in. The other is free and already yours. It shows you that your design is the fit. We are reclaiming what it means to belong. Masks are last season's game. So, if you are someone who doesn't want to dress using these concepts, that's good. Do that. I want you to be the real you. For real. But if you want to slide into something that makes sense without having to keep looking outside yourself for answers, I'm showing you that there are real implications to the tie between light waves interacting with your skin and the psychology of how people perceive what they see, between your bones and your soul. It's an odd stretch, I know, and it's fine if you don't want to use it. But I bet you already have something in your closet you can use to give it a try. The only reason I chose to make this series is because the very first day I chose to wear things this way, I was received like an entirely different person at the grocery store. I was taken aback by the level of respect and the new type of interactions I was having. It was a literal immediate night and day shift. I wasn't even looking my best. I had no makeup on. I wasn't having a good hair day, but people were going out of their way to greet me or nod in respect again and again. I'd never lived that life before. I realized this is real. I have to tell people. So think of this as a field test. Don't take my word for it. Look in your closet for something even close to these concepts. Go somewhere in your math and see what happens. So, as I describe these concepts, just think of these phrases as coordinates of environmental alchemy. Each pairing begins to reveal your natural resonance, the specific way your presence recalibrates and stabilizes the space you walk into. I'm offering these metaphors for you, but also for your clothes. When you get dressed, see if these resonances play when you wear things. But please, hear me. You are more than welcome to come up with your own metaphors. I just want to get you started. In fact, I don't even use these specific ones for myself. I used AI to help me tap into my own environmental math. I gave it my astrology chart placements, which are a great way to summarize your internal geometry quickly. And we processed my likes and dislikes until I landed on my own code. Does it look like a storm? Or is this a wild midnight garden? Once I had those filters, shopping became effortless. Well, at first, if I felt confused, I would just ask the machine, does this really make the cut for a storm? But it wasn't long before I didn't need to ask, I just knew. I want that same knowing for you. So just use these archetypes as a springboard, or use the tools available to you to find the exact words that make your own soul hum. This isn't about following my map, it's about you discovering your own terrain. So let's look at the types. The winter pillar. Absolute high contrast light meets vertical integrity. This gives you the presence of a sovereign sanctuary. When you walk into a space, you provide the immovable reference point, the stillness that allows everyone else to find their center. Think of the absolute silence of a midnight canyon, or the high contrast clarity of a moonlit conservatory. The winter helix. High voltage light meets radial momentum. This gives you the presence of an incandescent catalyst. You can spark instant transformation, acting as a magnetic vortex that shifts the frequency of a room just by being in it. Think of the high voltage glow of an electric aurora, or the kinetic power of the black ice torrent, a mountain river rushing through a frozen landscape too alive to ever stand still. The autumn pillar. Resonant earthy warmth meets vertical expansion. This gives you the presence of a grounded sentinel. You can uphold ancient resilience, acting as the root system that keeps the collective stable and upright. Think of the enduring strength of an ancient redwood, or the deep, resonant warmth of a harvest hearth. The autumn helix. Saturated warmth meets a tangled radial flow. This gives you the presence of an abundant alchemist. You generate rich complexity, weaving life into a textured and thriving dance of constant movement. Think of the swirling energy of a copper storm, or the intricate wild flow of a wild briar. The summer pillar, diffused misty light meets linear integrity. This gives you the presence of the ethereal witness. You hold space of sovereign peace, providing the quiet strength that remains after the noise of the world fades away. Think of the stoic endurance of granite cliffs, or the diffused light of a stormy twilight. The summer helix, ethereal cool tones meet aerodynamic response. Your presence is the fluid harmonizer. You invite graceful continuity, smoothing out the jagged edges of reality and bringing back a rhythmic flow. Think of the softening veil of sea mist, or the undulating waves of highland heather. The spring pillar, clear, sunny light meets vertical expansion. This gives you the presence of a luminous architect. You bring vibrant order, proving that clarity and light are the foundation of all sustainable growth. Think of the clear brilliance of a golden mesa, or the soaring precision of a foxglove spire. The spring helix, bright, clear warmth meets kinetic momentum. This gives you the presence of a vital spark. You initiate playful momentum, acting as the mountain stream, brimming with all that has melted after the winter, rushing forward, bringing new life and momentum wherever it flows. Think of the rushing energy of a mountain stream, or the bright kinetic joy of a wildflower meadow. As we begin to close, I want to thank you for hearing me out. I know this sounds like a totally foreign idea. I know it sounds far-fetched. I can't technically prove any of it, but what I can tell you is this. Ever since I connected these dots and started watching groups of people interact, the math rings true. In the earlier episodes of this series, I talked about missions. As I've gone deeper into this research, I've realized it's even simpler than that. It's not a mission you have to do. It's a frequency you already are. You don't owe the collective a specific role. Your only job, if you want to call it that, is the coherence of you. I came to the conclusions in this series because I love to look at patterns and connect them into a formation. But initially, I really wasn't sure if I had made this one up. But now, I'm consistently surprised to see it playing out right in front of my eyes, whether it's at a grocery store or just sitting in a crowded public place. I can clock the math of a person, watch their interactions, and the frequency is already there, with or without the clothes being aligned to it. If you begin to discern people's color and form, try watching them for their essence. You might be surprised, like I was, to see that we are already in this flow. It's just been subconscious until now. We might as well make it conscious, because when you find coordinates of your environmental alchemy, or the phrase that makes your body hum, you haven't just found a style, you have found your resonant frequency. Remember, your skeleton is a piezoelectric array. When you wrap that crystalline structure in a material that fights its geometry, you create destructive interference, a jagged wave that drains your battery just to exist. But when your clothes honor your bones and your color honors your light, those waves harmonize. This is the physical physics of coherence. A first impression is just a visible frequency scan. When your signal is distorted, the observer feels a subconscious friction. But when you are visually coherent, the scan is effortless. You aren't handing them a puzzle to solve. You're handing them a declaration. By connecting these dots between the light on your skin, the pressure in your bones, and the perception in the room, you see that reality isn't a collection of separate parts. It's a logical, beautiful, highly interactive dance. When your color and your geometry align, your presence creates a specific atmospheric effect in the room. If we want to live in a world where we value all life equally and learn to flow in a hierarchy-free system, we could try thinking of these biological markers as your role in the collective school of fish. I don't claim to know if this is a full-fledged solution, but it seems like a pretty reasonable place to start. We could try it, see what happens when we start aligning as much as humanly possible, and then let flow take over from there. When you combine the colors of your season and the structural feeling of your presence, you can find the frequency of your essence. You are finally making it effortless for the world to perceive the truth of who you are, simply by ceasing to resist your own design. If we see the note you are playing, it's easier to dance with you. The broadcast is clear, the channel is open, and for the first time, the signal is entirely your own. We've spent today mapping the fractal geometry of these seasons, but a map is only as good as the territory it helps you navigate. So, as we touch down, the real work begins. In our final episode, we're going to look at what happens when these patterns stop being something we notice and start being something we live. We're going to find the stillness at the center of the storm. See you then.